Hello and welcome to the Thursday show here on the Frontline Gaming Network. My name is Paul Murphy, your host. I'm joined by Adam Camilleri.
Hello.
And Dustin Henshaw.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone. This is the live show where we run down the tournaments coming up over the weekend. We're going to tell you what kind of meta you can expect there, the list you're going to see, the faction breakdown, and some of the list. I think some of you can already call it. Like, what do you think we're going to see? What we're going to talk about? We're also going to be talking about things how to beat that kind of stuff. This is a weekly show where we talk about all these types of things, the players, the top players in attendance at events, the events themselves, the culture of tournaments. Welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
3 events, one in Heartland Europe, one in the UK, and one in the US. So we also had we had some weird events all over the world today. I was gonna grab an event from South Africa, which we want to do every time they run one, but unfortunately I didn't have the lists live. So yeah, it happens. It happens.
But before we get going, though, I want to make sure to let people know that the ticket for the Atlantic City Open, put on by the Frontline Gaming Network guys, is tickets are open and available for purchase right now. East Coast, what's up? June 10th through the 12th at Harris Resort Casino in Atlantic City. Get your tickets now. Check it out. Put it on your calendar as something you do not want to miss.
FLG was when they first announced the ACO, FLG was tipping that to become possibly their second biggest event within a couple of years. So I would not be surprised if that thing is crushing it numbers wise pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't wait. Don't wait. If you even think about it, you got to get a ticket.
That's right.
We are going to be talking about the Free State GT, Copenhammer 3, and Last of Summer Winhammer 2. Look at these sequels. It's like something from the 80s.
That means they got some, story building, got some legacy building behind some of these ones, and we love to see that, especially in the post-pandemic era.
I really do like Copenhammer as a name, but we'll get there. We'll see if it lives up to the hype. And at the end of the show, we have a segment we call the Fuego Rapido. We actually have no idea what the questions are this week. You don't want to miss it. It's a little bit of a palate cleanser as we wind up the show later on. Hang with us. I did mention this is a live show, so some folks in the chat, thanks for saying what's up. Izzy the Warpsmith and Shirapopo, we've got some guesses on what factions we're going to see. Look at that. Predictions done. We'll see if it's that simple. Completely, I think that's a safe statement to make, but we'll see if that pans out. But anybody that's playing at these events over the weekend, maybe if you're listening in the chat, sound off of what you're taking.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, boys.
Oh, yeah?
Got some green on?
Me too. It's the Australian colours.
This is green, but you can't tell very well.
I'm like green from head to toe. I'm wearing this. I've got my work pajamas on.
Actually, is that the Zoom uniform?
Well, yeah, look, doesn't we believe you? It is green. You don't have to. Yeah.
I'm represented here.
Nice. Well, I hope everyone, if you are celebrating irresponsibly. But let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the Free State GT from Holton, Kansas. That's in the U.S. It's a 70-player event, 5 rounds. What are we going to see there?
Let's have a look-see. Quick and dirty stats here. We got the Imperial Superfaction with 2 Imperium, 3 Sisters, 6 Custodes, 1 Grey Knight, and 2 Imperial Knights. Nothing too surprising there. Although 3 Sisters is actually a little higher than I expected with the numbers there. It's kind of nice to see. Space Marine Superfaction, 2 Dark Angels, 3 Space Wolves, 1 Blood Angel, 2 Black Templar, 1 Iron Hands. Chaos Superfaction.
I just saw Wolf Priest
of course.
up in chat. I'm sure the impending Space Wolf Spike there has summoned him.
Never misses an opportunity.
Chaos Superfaction, 3 Chaos Soup, 1 Chaos Space Marine, 1 T-Sons, 2 Death Guard, 1 Renegade Knight. Pretty clean sweep there. The Chaos Soup I'm curious of. 2 Necrons, 2 Orcs, 10 Tau. Moving on. Hive Mind Super Factions, 3 Hive Mind, 7 Tyranids, 1 GSC. Lots of Tyranids. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Eldari Super Faction, 2 Mixed Eldari, 2 Drukhari, 1 Harlequin, and 5 Asuriani. So that makes up faction podium 10 Tau, and then 7 Tyranids, and Custodes in third with 6. There's no real golden cliff this time, except for everybody else other than off the podium.
What is that? 13% Tau?
Yeah.
Yep.
So in 5 games, it's gonna happen. You're just gonna play Tau.
You have to have a Tau strategy. You absolutely have to.
You absolutely in singles. You have to. The strategy could be just get a beer and call it, but that shouldn't. You got to be ready to fight them. Come on, play these guys. You can beat them.
Test
Everybody
your
can beat
theories. They're going to
Test
be
your
around
theories,
for a
yeah.
while. Even if they take a couple of hits nerf-wise, they're going to be a powerhouse. Get something in your list that makes
them.
closes the gap as far as you can.
There are answers. There are answers.
Artemis Steve says, saying what's up from south of the border and missed us last week. That's right. We really apologize for missing last week. Sometimes some technical issues happen, and we miss it too. We will try our best to have that never happen.
So much so that we still recorded the next day.
Yes, we did.
Do it live.
Yeah.
The podcast is out there in the ether, should you wish. It's a good show. Jump on it. But so for the top players in attendance, this was a kind of an interesting one because this naturally, this week is the first week that the Eldar Codex is in full effect. And the Eldari breakdown, the 2 mixed Eldari, 2 Drukhari, only single Harlequin I thought was quite interesting. And then Asuryani picking up the slack there and being half of that super faction in effect. It's funny that I've got 8 there when in fact there is 10.
So math is not Adam's strong suit. It's okay.
Yeah, it happens. But how that works sometimes is that people don't list factions, and then I go through, I do all the stats the first time around, and then if I feel like I've got time when I finish the entire show, I go back and look at the people who didn't list factions and put those stats in as well. So that means at least 2. That means 2 of the people from the Eldari super faction didn't list their faction, and I forgot to update the total at the end.
It's a good thing he changed the back end, so you guys can't see that, but he did actually change it.
Yeah,
it's right now, everyone.
It's right now.
The finger flick for not listening.
Someone was sitting in their car at a red light, be like 1, 2. God, that's not 8.
That's not it.
Not 8. So top players in attendance. Naturally, we are still in the first couple of months of this new season. So I'm looking at interesting lists, things that'll give us an insight into what the meta is, especially new factions that have just gotten books. What are their lists looking like? So the first one I picked out was Timroyers. He's playing Asuryani. He's playing Ulthwé. I picked this one out because I feel like this is a great starting point for what we can expect from a single battalion Asuryani build. Interesting that he took a battalion as well, and that leads me to believe that that Tim's doing more of experimentation sort of things. Wants more CP to play with the huge suite of stratagems available to Eldar.
There are choices here, which I do consider a little exploratory.
Exactly right. So starts off with Eldrad, Farseer Skyrunner, 10 Guardians, 2 to 5 Rangers making up the compulsory slots, 5 Banshees, 2x5 Striking Scorpion, 6 Wraithblades, which I can tell you are sword and board.
Experimental choice 1.
Exactly right. 5 Warp Spiders, 2 Night Spinners, 3 D-Cannon platforms, a single squadron of 3 rather.
Experimental choice 2.
And then 2 Wave Serpents. Now, there are a lot of reasons that I think the Wraithblades make sense in this one, but what do you guys think of that choice? And the list as a whole?
Well, as Paul was saying, I like being able to test a lot of this stuff in tournament settings because just testing in your local game store is one way. You got to start there, but you have to bring it into the real thing. You got to bring it into the tournaments. You got to see how it plays out, and you have to see how they kind of perform against a wider variety. Because a lot of the time when you're playing your lists in your local meta, you already kind of know what your opponents are planning and what their lists are. So you kind of already have it in your mind. And honestly, these things you're testing, I was like, this will be good into my meta. So you have to go into the tournament scene to do that. And I actually really like testing these. I don't know if they're worthwhile, but I'm curious to see if they are. Like I want to see how he does.
There's like one transport short here of I think really kind of figure this out, and that's probably where it could be a hobby choice, could be testing out those options or whatever. But the Wraithblades can go into Wave Serpent, Striking Scorpions can go into the other Wave Serpent, and everything else.
Can anybody know if Wraithblades take up 2?
I'm pretty sure they take up 2.
Yeah, so they take up the entirety of one Wave Serpent. Then you can get the Banshees and one of the Scorpions in the other one, maybe with Eldrad as well, but probably not. I like the kind of this is well rounded. It doesn't feel like it has a phenomenal amount of tools, but what it has is just good stuff, right? The Wraithblades for Ulthwé.
I will say though, real quick though, is that one of the things that I've heard from people that are trying to figure out what that Crafts World list is that they are in their mind anyway, having trouble coming to grips with what they can trade. Part of this game is trading off, and you seem to not really have anything that you want to sacrifice out of these Craft Worlds lists. Now, they're a lot more durable than they seem, by the way, with battle focus and being able to deploy differently and whatever. But that's an issue that people are trying to come to grips with.
I'm a big fan of a single unit of Wraithblades in Ulthwé because you have the extra manipulation of fate dice. You have better psychic Fakers in Eldrad, who gets to reroll a lot of his tests and stuff, and so it just gives you better ability to buff them up. And because you've extra fake dice, you can just be like, well, I've got a 600 vulnerable save army wide if I don't have the shields, and guess what? I've got extra fake dice to just auto pass at will when I need. And it feels like it's the list where you only want one unit because you don't really want to spike in for a Spirit Seer or anything like that to give them that extra buff. It's more like they're a bit of a missile or a deterrent, one or the other. They never really kind of walk
They can
up.
play goalie something fierce. I mean, because they high toughness, a lot of wounds. It's very conceivable that you do not chew through them in one round, and then they also, and if you don't, they also have the ability to fall back and still act. It's.
Yep, and the other way they can do it is to be chucked in Deep Strike and then get an auto charge from reserve in some games because they just come down with an auto 6. You just go roll a 3+ with a reroll on one.
That's the other thing too. That could be one of the reasons it might feel like there's a transport short, because if he gets that Fate dice, he doesn't need to have one of those things in the transport.
It's true.
Right?
It's absolutely true. All right, moving on to our second list. This is Bam Bam Hunter. Who is he from the Preferred Enemies, or is he from Flying Monkey? I believe is where he resides. He's got a Forces of the Hive Mind list that I think will be right up your alley, Dustin. He's got a Kronos Patrol and a Twisted Helix Battalion. The patrol starts off as thus. He's got a Neurothrope, 3 Warriors, and 6 Hive Guard. Easy as you like. Nice package.
Perfect.
Then his Battalion of Twisted Helix is a Kelemorph, a Magus, a Patriarch. I think it's 5x5 acolytes and then 1 unit of 10 acolytes. I know some of those 5-mans have some hand flamers to get your exposed and crossfire markers for you easily, and then the 10-man has some melee weapons. 8 aberrants, which is one of the reasons one of the reasons I wanted to unpack this one a little bit. 3 units of 10 pure strains as well, just because. 1 unit of 4 jackals and a Goliath truck, assumingly to either slingshot pure strains or aberrants, depending on which you need. Dustin, give us the 4-1-1 on this.
Well, I love it because this is the Kronos Patrol is the most cost efficient, like CP wise, way to run that patrol with the GSC right now. It's perfect. With the Hive Guard, just give you the long range shooting that because you lose your crossfire token. You lose your crossfire when you mix. So he's not going to have the kind of firepower that he would get from GSC, but Hive Guard they make up for it in spades. So everything else just run forward, do everything they need to do, and the Twisted Helix is the perfect way to run it too, because you get your +1 move, you get your +1 strength, you get your exploding or auto wounds on 6s. Like it's perfect. The only thing in here that is missing to me with 8 aberrants is an abominant, because the abominant reroll everything to hit is a big deal for aberrants. It makes them twice as efficient, and he's actually not bad. Why
would you take aberrants in this meta, do you think? I mean, I know some reasons, but what do you think?
No, aberrants are actually, because the pure strains, they can threaten anything. They can absolutely threaten anything, but they do need to spike against the bigger things. Aberrants, and 8 of them, can kill anything, and they're also the industrial robots, so they can get rerolls to wound for a CP against monsters and vehicles. They can get rerolled to hit if there's an abominant near them.
Which you will see a lot of those.
Which we see a lot of those, exactly. There's a lot of things that you need those. Even those minuses to hit, then aberrants, they need that reroll because they hit on 3s with they're not core. So like a Primus doesn't help them or anything. And they only have 2 attacks, so they need to be efficient with those 2 attacks.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, are they one of the only units that the infantry units that you can take that won't just auto die to airbursts as well?
Yes. They still get hurt by them with a butt. Because there's no biophages in here, so they're not going to have a feel no pain. They're just going to have the 5 save.
Are they there to absorb damage from all these little? Because like to me, all the 5-man squads look like super fragile, super perilous.
They're just to trade for objectives to get those points. Like it's a style that I play. Like I always have lots of min squads to do that. So you run them on, just steal an objective, and then you don't need to worry about them anymore. They're not there to survive, and a lot of the time they're not there to do damage either.
Are they playing in secondary choices here? Is this list like basically just playing into the secondaries?
It'll auto get R&D. You can't really stop it. It'll auto get like 12 on engage.
Honestly, in most you take Stranglehold with this because you have all those little object bodies, like just to steal something away. Like I said, 5-man, 45-point unit. I get Stranglehold. There we go, done. Next turn, please.
And you clear all your opponent's objective holders with the Hive Guard.
Yeah, exactly. The Hive Guard clear all that for you. They make it easy for you to hold the 3 and not have to overextend or anything. And to answer your question, Paul, the aberrants probably aren't there to take a hit. They are there to make hits. They are there to kill something.
I actually thought they're not bad in the Custodes meta because that's
they are very good in the Custodes.
Don't have as GSC. I mean, you do, but you gotta put a lot of points into your acolytes, which just don't do a damn thing against Tau a lot of the time.
Pro tip: you want to kill custodes with shooting as GSC.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know when you're doing that with G-Stealers and Aberrants, though. I mean,
yeah, it's true.
Aberrants actually are good into custodes because of the -1 damage. So the 1 damage back, even though they won't have a save, they'll be able to tank a lot of it anyway. And
I mean, he's not shooting with them, is what I'm saying. He's getting this list is moving forward. Like those 30 G-Stealers, 8 Aberrants, stuff is going to be in your face.
Well, and like I was saying, outside of salvo launchers, which don't get amazing return, they're better than most. But like you talk about the bolters and stuff that are going to be winning on 5s, doing 1 damage to an aberrant, you just don't care. Like, and you can they can take a charge from Virtus Praetors as well, which is something that just about nothing else in the list can do. But still, they're not great. I'm not going to sit here and tell you everybody get your 30, get your muscle beach.
No. One squad of them, I don't hate that. It's actually I've used them with Abominants, and they are very dangerous.
It's very possible that this is just the list this individual wants to play, but it's also, we know out there what the kings of the meta are at this moment. We see that, and players have to be asking themselves, how do I position myself for better performance? And so we're going to see some list choices we don't necessarily understand. We're going to see units that on paper may not seem as efficient to us, but they may play really well into the matchups they're expecting.
Oh yeah, perfect. Absolutely. Like I said, this is a great list though. I love it.
Moving on to the last of the list for this event, this is Tom Quen. He's playing Imperial Knights. Now, I've been wanting to see an Imperial Knight list that I thought had made adequate adjustments post the points adjustment to Megaeras, making them a little bit unpalatable and kind of unbalancing that list, because you used to get this beautiful homogeny of 3 Megaeras and 3 to 4, take your pick, Moiraxes, War Dogs, or whatever there was for Chaos or Imperial. And I feel like this is a list that I quite like for this meta, or I like as much as I think I can like Knights at the moment. This is a House Raven super heavy detachment. It's got 2 units of 2 Warglaives, a unit of 3 Moiraxes, and a unit of 2 Moiraxes, all with lightning locks, which I think is plum, and a single Castellan with all the defensive trimmings. And I think this is about where I like Knights at the moment. I don't like 3 big Knights anymore.
No. Folks are going to see this list. They're going to be like, I got this no problem. They have forgotten about the devastation that Castellan can bring.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, the Castellan's there because it just dunks on Crisis Suits and Custodes. It'll pick up a unit of either of those. Shield drones, forgiving. But you have things like Lightning Locks, which just threaten everything in the game at the moment. The Lightning Lock profile is actually really good. You talk about something that's going to be good into Harlequins. You talk about something that doesn't need rerolls as well to be effective against both Harlequins and Tau. And Custodes. And then you talk about something that just has the right strength 6 -2 profile to go into all the toughness 5 chassis we're seeing at the moment, in addition to things like Void Weavers as well, which even they're -1 to wound, you still get them on 4s. Doesn't matter if you're -1 to hit, you still got the exploding 6s to make up for the deficit. They're not. I think they're where you want to be if you're a Knight player.
Yeah, I think a Castellan's actually a really good choice right now. I agree. This is the way to run it. Three big ones isn't the way. You need, I think, a Castellan, and then this is a good mix of the little ones, actually.
I just feel like Tau makes big Knights feel so awful. Like, we got one unit of broadsides and 1 unit of ion or plasma crisis suits, and you just get tabled.
Look, man, just go first.
Just go. It's an easy solution. Yeah, just roll high initiative, man.
But the broadsides are infantry and will sit on the other side of a Remuscuring wall, and the crisis suits will be in reserve. So cool, you get to kill a Devilfish turn 1. Congratulations. Yeah, it feels real bad for the Knight player. Because the broadsides don't need to move.
Didn't you infiltrate or outflank some of these Knights too?
You do, and then it costs you all your CP. But yeah,
if you keep it alive,
true.
We are talking again. We're talking about like what the real situation is, and so you get looking at this. The Castellan does have this, and depending on the terrain, it could be. But think a little bit ahead, maybe.
Well, I just
make things a little bit better for yourself.
I like the Castellan in here because it'll give Custodes players pause. It might do nothing to them. They might spike their 4-up invulns and you don't do anything. Or they've got the -1 to hit banner or whatever. But just the fact that it can spike and wipe out a unit of whatever you've got, it feels really good to have in your list. And you're right. Some games it's just going to be worth the CP to chuck it in reserve, so you just don't lose a turn 1.
You gotta be real cagey with what you do have on the table, though. You gotta
be careful.
Do you boys want to pick a winner? I mean, it's got 10 Tau in it, so we're not allowed to pick Tau because that's probably what's going to happen.
So the chat called out, is it really the the lack of Harlequins here has to be a hobby lag thing. Has to be they have not.
Who's got
Nobody owns 9 Void Weavers.
Who's got 9 Void Weavers? Who had 9 Void Weavers? Like maybe somebody had 3 Void Weavers if they're a Harlequins diehard. So
I had 3.
Why have you got 3? You're
I have Harlequins. I like them.
Whatever.
They're cool.
You're just a hoe.
Well, if you're a Harlequin player, you can you build on your collection over time. I don't know that you're going to have 9, but you are going to have you have some or whatever. But that has to be the reason we don't see more right now because they really play well into some of the stuff. So with that in mind, it's hard to pick a winner here that isn't Tau.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm still going to do it. It's easy for me.
Me too.
Bam Bam's got this.
I like Bam Bam's list a lot. I was about to say the same thing. I like his list a lot. Do you know who I don't like it into, though? I do not like his list into Tau that much, just because he's got so many MSU units that can all just go in one turn. But
the pure strains will do work into Tau. I guarantee you.
That's fair. I will back one of the Asuryani players. There's 5 Asuryani players. We unpacked one of their lists. I'll back Asuryani to win this over Tau.
They have the tools again because it's going to come down to I don't want to say they're a glass cannon. But the Asuryani, you've got to really master that those phases in between the phases, and maybe we're going to see that. And I don't know that we've seen the best list unlocked yet.
Nowhere near. That thing is deep and wacky,
which is great. Yeah, I like that. Honest Warrior, good to see you in the chat. Nergo Matt, good to see you as well. Adam Peters. Is it Ganny, New Jersey, NJ? I believe you mentioned that about the hobby lag on the Harlequins. And then Adam Peterson says, going to a grand tournament this weekend where there are 32 Void Weavers in attendance from 6 players.
6 Harlequin players.
Some people that are motivated to try and take it down. We'll see how they perform.
I said it last week. I'll say it again. 3D printer goes burr. Brr.
Look, I want to see how this plays out, because there are with all the defensive stuff, sometimes the dice just don't work out. We'll see how it plays, and going into the next event, we'll see how that compounds and folds on it in and of itself to how the
Harlequins are in the sense too. Like they have they live and die by the 4-ups. They do. They have a couple of defensive stuff like custodes, but they're lower toughness and, like I said, they live and die by the 4-up, so it can spike either way.
If you can see him and you can hit him, they will die. Like they're still elf bodies. Like
I'm gonna pick a faction I've not picked in a while. I'm gonna say Grey Knights, but that is purely to be
the one Grey Knight player. Got it.
One,
right?
Yeah.
I want to be controversial.
Just know one Grey Knight player. TPM loves you.
Make it happen. I want to hear the heralds of the Stormbolters and what it has done, and I want to hear about a bunch of charges and a bunch of mortal wounds. Because I outside of like the Aldari list that just may like have a couple of psychers in there, I don't know what can stop a bunch of mortal wounds right now that's out there. Like a bunch.
Wow. What's up next, boys?
Coming up next on the docket for us to talk about is the Copenhammer from Copenhagen, Denmark. That's why I liked it. Copenhagen. You can tell where it was.
Makes sense.
44 players, 5 rounds. Hashtag they did the right thing. 100% of the players had their faction listed in BCP for us to talk about.
Thank you, you refined European gentlemen and ladies, for listing your factions. Adam appreciates you.
Perfect.
Dustin, can you tell us what we're going to see?
Oh, I can, because we know exactly what everybody's playing. So the Imperial Super Factions, 1 Imperium, 5 Custodes, 1 Admech, 2 Astra Militarum. Wow, and an Imperial Knight. Space Marine Super Faction, 1 Dark Angel, 1 Iron Hands, 1 Imperial Fist, 1 Death Watch. Chaos Super Faction, 1 Chaos Soup, 3 T-Suns, 3 Death Guard, and a Demon player.
Oh man, back to normal. This is like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
I was about to say.
Back to normal. Everything's fine. Everything's fine now. Xeno Super Faction, 1 Necron, 2 Orcs, 5 Tal. That's not bad. That's the same as Custodes. That's okay. Hive Mind Super Faction, 1 Hive Mind, 2 GSC. Oh, no Tyranids. And Eldari Super Faction, 1 Eldari, 3 Drukhari, 3 Harlequins, and 4 Asuryani. So the faction podium that is Tau and Custodes tied at 5. No real surprise. Asuryani at 4. And then T-Suns, Death Guard, Harlequins, and Drukhari all tied at 3.
I like that mix.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
that would actually make for it would make for a good tournament to play through, because you're unlikely to play the same army twice until you get to like the top, and then probably But they could be knocking themselves out too,
But that's a beautiful spread. Like
It
that is
is.
actually
It's really nice.
that's about as good as it gets for anybody going to a tournament at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's you can't ask for anything better, really.
Some of the outliers there, like T-Sun's Death Guard having back to, like you guys said it before, back to being a homogenous two factions. That was the tale for like almost 6 months of last year. Was every event they had the same numbers? Every event they had the same numbers. Crazy to think it happens that often. Drakari and Harlequins being homogenous as well. I expect to kind of see that more often now too. And yeah, Assyriano spiking up, being the new hotness. People wanting to experiment, see what's up.
The real Nick saying in chat, trying to find diamond pattern nail transfers to hobby cheat their way into painted Quen's army. Look, the cool thing about that
That's
is
clever,
if you do find
actually.
some, yeah, they're not crazy expensive, and it's kind of hard to figure out exactly what their right sizes online. Probably just get a bunch for.
I got
pretty
mine
expensive.
already. I got all my Quens are all their diamond pattern. I got them all set up, all my templates. Just in time to paint more of them now. Like 6 more Void Weavers.
The War Minister's giving some respect to the guard players. Let's talk about some lists though, because we're going to unpack one of these Harlequin lists.
Okay, do you know what I love you guys over in Europe, especially in Scandinavia, Eastern Europe as well. But forgive me, my tongue is not equipped for your magnificent names.
Here is the time where we have to apologize. If we butcher someone's name, it's completely unintentional. It's more important we talk about the list.
Savage, uncouth Australian mouth. First up, we have Alexander Zorgov, Dzougov. There we go. He's playing.
I believe the D is probably silent. It's probably Zugov.
Zugov. Fair enough. He's playing Harlequins. He has a light battalion, and I pulled this one out because this is close to what I expect to see almost at nauseum for the next couple of months. This combination of units, and there's not many to choose from. He's got a troop master, a single shadow seer, 5x5 troop, all with some combination of a couple of weapons. A big unit of 12 troop, which I thought
you mean like caresses or kisses or
kisses or embraces. Yeah, they've got a combination of 12 troop with a bunch of weapons, 2 Death Jesters, which I find is interesting because usually I think 1 is almost mandatory, but 2 is a matter of taste. And then 3 2/2 Void Weavers, so that's a total of 7, and then 5 Star Weavers to tote around all the 5 troop units. What do you guys think? It's pretty straight up and down, but it is spicy. And this is I don't know how often I expect to see the larger squad, especially a maxed out 12 clown squad. But I'm actually I don't hate it. I don't mind it as long as you.
My question for you. And the player too is that do you go 12 to take advantage of the additional fusion pistols or something like that? Like there is something that unlocks for you if you do go to 12, and I'm curious if the pilot has opted for that in this situation.
Yeah, maybe just a bigger kill and get to more advantage from some of their strats, kind of thing. There's more value out of it.
Maybe defend the Death Jesters. I mean, that's one of the things you kind of.
Kind
of create a nice little fire platform for yourself in the back to let everything else kind of go up and do that work and distract folks while they're laying down a little bit of fire and controlling your whole home field objectives.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, see, a bigger unit makes a lot of sense to me in the current meta because you do need to have a way of killing 3 Custodes bikes very efficiently when they're out of line of sight because your Void Weavers can't get an angle, so you need something to go into a ruin and get them.
Is there anything out of the Harlequins care about line of sight? They have infinite movement.
It's more about you don't want to get too close to your opponent sometimes. Like you put your Void Weavers too close and they're just going to explode. You need to be picking angles, fire and fading, keeping them safe. But something like a 12 troop unit that you just run out there and just pick up a big squad whilst possibly staying quite safe from retaliation or being insulated by a Shadow Seer, etc., a bunch of powers. It feels pretty good because I know a lot of people have told me. I had a gentleman tell me about he used 5 Harlequin, I think it was 6 Harlequin troop or 5 Harlequin troop and 4 CP, and he was just picking up. He just picked up Custode units with 5 mans. But, 4 CP, you only have for so many turns of the game.
Yeah. It was like a specific weapon loadout? Because what I think probably what you're describing is you have the weapon, you're burning the strat to do additional stuff. What was the weapon loadout that they were investing the CPs in? Because now, when you're picking your army and building your list, the weapons all have the same stat. It's like -2 AP, 2 damage, +2 strength or something like that. Is very consistent. But what it unlocks, it gives you a keyword that unlocks stratagems.
Every single squad has to be a kiss. They have to have at least 1 kiss for sure.
I agree. The kiss is mandatory. The embrace and the whatever the other one is just a matter of choice.
Caress.
Up
Come
to you.
on, Adam.
Caress. Whatever.
Yeah.
Kiss by a caress on the grey, whatever. All
Just
right.
hit it.
Next up, we have Henrik Davidson. This is kind of my favorite tower list at the moment because I feel like it's the most dynamic and the most interesting, and it's kind
Chad,
of.
don't hate him because he has a favorite tower list.
Well, I look at like 20.
Here comes
of these,
the hate now.
I look at like 20 of these a week for your viewing pleasure, and this is what I find most interesting to talk about. It's Tau. It's a Farside Allied world, which is the only thing I dislike about it because I feel like that's an egregious reading of rules, and I wish GW in their FAQ for the Tau book thought of putting something in to fix that because they haven't. I know. He's got two patrols. All right. Starts off with 3 Crisis Bodyguard that have a shield drone, a Crisis Commander that comes with a marker and a shield drone, has an Ethereal with a marker drone, 10 Crute, 2 units of 5 Crisis Suits with 5 shield drones apiece, 2 units of 4 Crute Hounds going into the next one. So we've already got 3 Crisis units in this army. He has another 3 Crisis Bodyguard with a shield drone, a Crisis Commander with a marker and a shield drone, 10 Crute, another unit of 3 Crisis Suits with 2 shield drones, 3 Stealth Suits with a marker and a shield, and 4 more Crute Hounds. So that's 2 units of Crute, 2 Commanders, 1 Stealth Suit, 3 units of Crute Hounds, 2 units of Bodyguards, 3 units of Crisis Suits, all at this kind of homogenous, either 3 or 5 models per unit. It's MSU, it's brutal, and I am actually quite a fan of it.
I like it. This has all the components there that, well, outside of a ghost keel, I think that that we were talking about are done. Now, look, I don't know if the ghost keel is making the cut, but that was we had our eye on units when that codex finally hit, and it sounds like it's gelling up into this list.
Well, the only thing, so this is a list that has a skewed broadside because it never wants to sit still. It never wants to be still. It wants to move every single turn, be deep strike. Like turn 1, it wants a deep strike into turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3. Like a lot of the game, because the homing beacon on the stealth suits lets you get one in turn 1, and it's just going to Montcar all over you, just be everywhere. I'm a big fan of this list, and I hate it with a passion because I do not want to play against it.
Put that caveat on there. It's,
I respect it. I respect the savagery.
All right. I love the MSU of it actually. Like every crisis unit you can take. Why wouldn't you? And you're right. I like the mobility of it, not being bogged down by having to stay in one spot with the broadsides. Because with all the Crute and all the crisis, the stealth suits, even like you're moving all over the place. You don't want to stand still. You want to be able to take the board and move wherever you need to in case somebody comes in your backfield. Like, oh, I don't care. Now I'm in your backfield, so it's fine.
I like the way this list looks on the table. I don't mind saying that. Is that like I think it would get a really cool thing. Like this is a decent representation of the Tau army or a version of the Tau army, and it shows a bit of depth in the codex, which we know it's a good book.
I actually kind of feel like this is a Tau list tuned to kill other Tau lists, to kill other conventional Tau lists.
Good call.
I feel like that's kind of where this is hunting. It doesn't have any one big unit for your deep strike, get a bunch of rerolls to hit and to wound against to nuke. If you bring down your fully fledged out 6 or 7 crisis, what max crisis unit, and pick up one of this guy's, doesn't really care, like whatever, and then it hits you on the response.
I will say that if you want to go hard against counter Tau as Tau, the answer is broadsides from personal experience.
You think? Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
It's when we brought our Tau list into the team events, we always put 9 broadsides in there because we can put it in the mirror and it does better on average.
Disgusting as well.
Yeah. How are you arming the broadsides? The rail cannons or the
rail cannons and smart missiles?
Smart missiles.
Okay, yep.
Fair enough though. All right, jumping down to our last one. This gentleman is named Frederick Hestbeck. He's playing Orcs. He's playing a Goths, a double patrol. He's got a Beast Boss on Squigosaur, 10 Gretchen, 2 units of 5 Commandos, 3 Death Copters, 3 Squighog Boys, a Darker Jet, and a Wazbomb. Then he's got his second patrol, has a Warboss and Mega Armor, 2 units of 10 Gretchen, 2 units of 10 regular Knobs, 2 units of 3 Death Copters, and 2 trucks. Literally why I pulled this one out, because I saw 2 units of regular Knobs, and I'm like, I want to talk about that. Why is that a thing?
Are they going in the trucks?
They're going in the trucks.
Yep.
The Knob bosses have claws. Everything else has a big chopper. Everything else is strength 7, Goth goodness. Oh, sorry, the Goths +1 strength, yeah?
First run of combat, yeah.
Yeah, so they're strength 8. They're strength 8 minus.
Wow,
minus
that's actually
2 damage.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They're
exploding
breaking
6.
the ram. They're counter orc ramshackle. It's a
well, and Cathathic City as well to some extent. And not awful into a range of the other high toughness things out there. Say Crusher Stampede. These still have enough attacks that are Goths that'll go through and kill stuff like that. I don't hate it, but I can't say I fully understand it.
Yeah, same as me. Like I love seeing it. I don't understand it, but I love it.
That War Boss in Mega Armor is a beast. It's basically, I was going to call it a truck, but it wouldn't be confusing. It's the third truck in this list. We know the Death Copters do a lot of work and are, I think, an underrepresented unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Flyers can still get around things. We were just talking about that. Hiding certain units that are devastating units can just walk out later or jump out later or whatever, do all this damage, and you have the potential to put some pressure on them.
I'd rather this list have 2 WAS bombs because I actually quietly still like WAS bombs in the current meta, especially with crisis suit units. This is correct, yeah. Let me double check I'm not lying. The drones count as the number of models for blast in crisis suit units.
They do for blast, yes.
So a WAS bomb can really just dunk on crisis units if they get the drop on them.
That's a good spot.
Which I don't hate. And also they've got the right profiles to threaten any custodial unit that you've got. Also the same can be said for them into things like Crusher Stampede. But a Ducker Jet I still love as well. I still quite like the Ducker Jet. I like the Ducker Jet more and more as I think Harlequins become better because it's just got the density of fire.
That's true too.
The volume of fire to get through. Like I know you're -1, but that's really not changing my odds very much.
Doesn't matter.
So
a bucket is a bucket. Yeah. A bucket is a bucket.
I don't know orc players that don't roll 6s. So.
That's right. So yeah, I actually quite like this list, but I just don't understand the knobs. I hoped that this gentleman writes in and being like, this is exactly what the knobs do, because I really want to understand that unit, because it just seems like you'll use it once and it'll explode and you'll be like just like green paste.
But is that enough? Is it really enough? If you can get an advantage up on points in the early round and then just never relinquish it, then maybe that's enough.
Oh, that's exactly right. Is that enough? Yeah. Is there a specific target this guy is hunting? Does his meta have something that justifies their cost? Big units of Scarab Occult Terminators, Dread Knights, stuff of this ilk that you can just like, I know this guy's coming, this guy always beats me, knobs are going to wreck his face because I know we're going to play, stuff like that.
I mean, and this guy could be playing into the fact that what is it? Almost 20% of the list is chaos.
That's funny. Yeah, weird actually to say that, isn't it?
That's true.
I mean, that list goes really well into some Thousand Suns.
It's true. It's
there's a lot of Keepers of Secrets. That T7, the Strength 8 knobs are going to be able to do some work into them.
So you play the tournament that's right in front of you, and maybe that's what we're seeing here. So with all that in mind, with everything in the bit of the throwback to like the faction breakdown, what's winning this thing, Dustin? What's your pick for winner?
Well, obviously. As always, I'm going away from Tau, so I am going to Quen's. Going to Quen's.
Not a bad call. That Tau list seems messed the F up to me. If that's not winning, I will pick. Oh, it's actually really hard to pick this one.
I'm going Esserani. You know what? I think that the density of list there in a strong book.
You know what? I'm just like putting my sheer will into this one. I'm gonna pick one of the guard players.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
And maybe it's the time. Look,
let's go.
All that's standing between them is just always rolling above average.
That's all you gotta do.
Just roll above average. Don't get touched. You'll win. Yeah, don't let your Lehman Russes get touched. All right, last event, boys.
Yeah, actually, before we do this next tournament, we're going to our last event. We're going to cover, then we'll do our Fuego Rapido. Let's take a brief pause for a word from our sponsors. Just please hang in here. We'll be right on the other side of it.
At Frontline Gaming, we make the best tabletop gaming mats in the universe. Our mats are durable, rollable, foldable, wipeable, and storable. Oh, and they look damn great, too. Join the thousands of tournament regulars and garage gamers who use our mats to bring their gaming surfaces to life. To ensure quality, Frontline Gaming mats are custom-made one at a time, printed with high-quality ink. Our immersive designs stay crisp and are available in a wide range of styles and sizes. So whether you're playing a war game or a skirmish game, whether you're fighting over an alien tundra, fantastical forest, or real-world setting, there's a great-looking battlefield for you. Our gaming mats are printed on extremely durable neoprene backing, so they won't slide around the table. And they're thick enough to stay flat, protecting what's underneath and allowing for slight uneven surfaces. We know from experience that an easily portable gaming surface is just better. Every mat comes with a sturdy nylon zip-up bag for storage and transportation. Whether your next battle is in your home or at the local game store, you'll be able to unroll your FLG mat and get gaming right away. Our products are all made and tested by passionate gamers at Frontline Gaming HQ right here in the USA. It's time to take your battlefield to a new level. Frontline Gaming, champions of tabletop.
Biggity Bam, we are back. I got a question for you, Adam. Are you enjoying your time in the States? I don't think you're in the States right now, but you're coming back.
I am not in the States right now. The border's willing. I'll be back in for Adepticon and then hanging around for another couple of months. But I'm sitting right now in Mexico City, and I've been here for the last 3 weeks. Having a good time. Mexico's wild. Mexico's a good place.
If you folks are going to Adepticon next week, make sure you come by and say what's up to Adam and I and some others we'll be hanging out with. It would be really cool to see y'all and doing it. So the next event we're going to talk about, this is the last of Summer Winhammer 2 from Thornsbridge, England. Not going to guess where this is, but I like...
Definitely London.
Definitely London.
I like that it's a sequel. I'll say that. 50 players, 5 rounds, another 100% of the factions listed. Thank y'all so much, players. It means a lot to us. And we know you're doing it for us, and we appreciate it.
Of course. We always love that. Love yous all. Let's go through the quick and dirty stats of the Imperial Super Faction. We have 1 Sisters, 9 Custodes, 3 Astra Militarum, 2 Great Knights. Oh my god! Astra Militarum this weekend, man. This is great.
Resurgent.
It's resurgent.
This is no reason whatsoever.
There's a window for some reason. I don't know what the window is, but there's an Astra Militarum window that's coming, apparently.
The meta is horrible for them. Like, there's no reason for this at all.
I will not question it. You do you guys, please. I want to see more Astra Militarum on the tables. 1 Dark Angel, 3 Ultramarines, 1 Raven Guard, 2 Death Watch. Chaos Super Faction, there is 1 Chaos Space Marine, 2 T-Suns, 2 Death Guard, 1 Demons. Xeno Super Faction, 2 Necrons, 4 Orcs, 4 Tau. So pretty good spread there. That's nice. Hive Mind Super Faction, 1 Tyranid, 2 GSC. That seems to be the ratio in
That's
Hive
what
Mind.
we've seen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
1 of one and 2 of another. Just, okay. Eldari Super Faction, 2 Eldari, 2 Drukhari, 3 Harlequins, and 1 Arsiriani. Yeah, I think the even spread for Eldari Super Faction is going to be pretty consistent now.
Yeah, so, it is. All 3 for this week have been really consistent spreads.
Pretty consistent. So Faction Podium, Custodes at 9, and then the Golden Cliff goes down to 4.
That's like 18-19% or something Custodes for this.
Got to be ready for it. The Golden Cliff leads to Orcs and Tau at 4, and then Harlequins, Guard, and Ultramarines at 3. Guard are on the Faction Podium, guys.
Dude, Guard and Ultras.
I wish we had an air horn.
Ultramarines, that's crazy.
Crap?
We need
a bell. What the crap is going on?
Ring that bell.
But yeah, like apart from the Custodes, this is another.
Some folks play for the love of the hobby, man. Actually, a lot of folks do.
A lot of them do. In fact, recent facts have proved that more people play for the love of the hobby than competitively. It's true, which is good. That's why the hobby lives.
Well, again, you got to give it up to some of these players that that are probably thinking about what can I take in my list to see. And so, if anything, if this data proves what you're going to see, it almost like lays out a roadmap of what you have to be examining when you're making your list, which also influences hobby choices and influences creativity. Another opportunity to read through your codex. So let's take a look at some of these lists. Let's break them down.
Exactly, P-Chan. And some people just gluttons for punishment. That's exactly right.
Well, Ultramarines made the podium, so I had to go and see what was up. And this is the list that I kind of expected to see when I saw Ultras on the podium. This is Ryan Duick's list. He's got a single battalion. He's got a Gravis Captain, a Primaris Tech Marine, 2 units of 5 Incursors, 5 Intercessors, 5 Blade Guard Vets, 2 Invictors, 2 Volkite Contemptors, an Apothecary, and get this, 2 units of 5 Eradicators. Like, this is actually pretty... This is kind of savage. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, Ultramarines. I expect to see like a binary list of did I go first and annihilate you or did I lose? And this is exactly what that list is. 2 Invictors, 2 Volkite Redemptors, of course, getting to redeploy. Seal of Oath goodness. 2 units of 5 Eradicators as well. I kind of secretly am a fan of this list again. Does
it make you want to get a couple of war suits? Because those war suits are probably another underutilized unit.
And they look awesome.
It does and it doesn't. Like, I feel like the meta has gone too far past the metrics upon which this was built. The fact that both Harlequins and Custodes, and it's freaking 9 Custodes in this meta for this gentleman, both turn off your rerolls, and Space Marines exclusively operate off rerolls to deal their damage from range and somewhat in combat, makes me feel quite bad for this. But all of a sudden, with Ashurani coming back, I like Volkai Contemptors again. I just don't like how many points they cost. And a CP. Sure. It's just like,
so what's drawing you to that? So with the Volkai Contemptors, why do you think they play really well into the Ashurani?
They've got the density of fire. As in just the right amount of shots. They've got the strength 6 with no rend and 2 damage, e.g., you're not wasting any rend into a 4+ invulnerable save on a unit that doesn't have an armor save anyway. They wound all their boats on 3s and every single unit that's on foot on 2s, with a bunch of shots. And even if you're hitting them on 4s, you can expect to get 8 hits and probably 1 or 2 mortal wounds in addition.
Yeah, mortals on sprinkle on top. Yep.
Yeah.
You're more than likely to kill a 5-man with every time you shoot, is the way I see it. And I know this gentleman has Cyclones on the top of both of his as well. So it can kill a boat, possibly, and a 5-man every turn. And that feels pretty good in this day and age for a Space Marine unit.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good way to think about that. That's perfect analogy. I think you'd like the Invictors more if people would paint them and model them like the power loaders from Aliens.
Yep. Yeah, boy. Yeah.
I need to see somebody do that. Every time I see them, like I'm expecting to see Ripley in there. That's
I'm almost like, I'm not ready to say it yet, but with all the only hits on 4s and no rerolls, part of me is, and the -1s to hit from all the Ashurani stuff, I'm like, is it time to put the Flamer on the Invictor? Like, is it time?
Yep, absolutely
feels yuck.
Absolutely
It might be right now.
Maybe so. And also like the low investion points in the HQ slot here. Like they've definitely got a lot of more options and toys in the list, and have not spent a lot of bells and whistles on some of those other. They don't come with a benefit that isn't relevant to the rest of the army.
Exactly right. So moving on to the next of these lists. This is Kyle Grundy, the #1 Tau player in the ITC for the previous season, that being 2021. And he's playing a Farsight Allied Worlds double patrol. It's the same freaking list from Fredericks in Copenhagen that we just did before. And I just wanted to point out how these top lists coalesce, because I'd bet my face they're in a mutual Discord.
We have talked about this.
Your face? I have never heard that term before.
About the community.
This whole thing.
Is that even though these players they're in a competition for the best faction, best ITC faction, and what have you, but it's a community, it's a group. They talk about it. They're in message boards. They're talking about what is the best thing to get us all to that level, and that's one of the coolest things about that. And if there is parity between these lists, that's evidence of that. So again, proof is right there. We've seen it time and time again across all these factions. So if you're interested in knowing what's up, what these players are taking, what the top minds in your faction are thinking, even if it's Tau, there's resources out there for you to utilize.
And just to give a synopsis of what that list was, that's 2 units of Crisis Bodyguard, 3 units of Crisis Suits. That's 2 units of Crude, a couple units of Crude Hounds, 2 Commanders. I think one was a Cold Star, one was a regular, an Ethereal, 1 unit of Stealth Suits. And I find it very interesting indeed that we see essentially there's only really a body of water separating these two competitions, these two lists. And across those 2 bodies of water, there are 2 players playing almost identical lists. Are we a month into the Tau meta? Are we a month into Tau?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I said fully bloomed, matured. There's been an FAQ. There's
a full flavored Tau meta.
Checked off all the boxes. What's out there now is what you're going to see and what you got to plan for.
All right, and the last of these lists, this is Ben Inman's, and I literally pulled this list out because it's Necrons, and we do like 9 lists an episode, and I like to represent as many factions as we can in those 9 lists. And naturally, the stuff that's doing the best, like Tau or Custodes, will get a bit more of extra attention because we want to keep our fingers on the pulse of the meta. But when we can give some credence to some more interesting or I think innovative, lists like Necrons or Sisters or Orcs, etc., we like to pull them out and show you guys. This one is a Necrons Battalion and Patrol, Relentlessly Expansionist, and Eternal Conquerors, which I actually think is on the downturn. We're seeing much more Novok than not, which is another reason I wanted to show you guys. So Catacomb Command Barge, Chronomancer, 3 units of 5 models, a Plasma Sight, and to go along with 6 Scorpec Destroyers, so a full unit of Scorpecs, 3 Scarabs, 2 units of 3 Tomb Blades. 3 units of 4 regular destroyers, that being the strength 6 -3 2 damage ones.
Yep.
If I remember right. Then into the patrol is a Technomancer, another 5 Immortals, 2 units of 4 Wraiths, and 2 single heavy destroyers. This is like a full toughness 5 build, because all the Immortals are toughness 5, Scorpex toughness 5, Tomblaze toughness 5, Destroyers toughness 5. That's what I'm seeing here, and it's kind of well balanced between shooting and combat as well, which I kind of liked.
No lie, hand to heart, this is almost the exact same list I told a buddy to run a couple weeks ago. Not that because it was just what you just said. It felt like it had enough shots and enough high toughness and the ability to kind of manipulate the board to be a runner.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like this list. I like the metrics of what it's building upon. It's actually quietly resilient into quite a lot of the meta at the moment. Like, especially airbursts. Like, airbursts will just like possibly swing and miss. Maybe you get a couple guys back with reanimation. Maybe. And the melee, you don't need Novok to kill a lot of what you're fighting if you're playing with bigger units, which is what this gentleman's doing. So I thought it was interesting. I liked it. I liked it. It felt well balanced without taking Necron Warriors, without taking Silent King. And I don't hate it.
What do y'all think about the actual, just the old bog standard destroyers?
There's nothing wrong with them. They're good. Like you were talking earlier about all the toughness 5 stuff out there. Not just in this list. I mean, the toughness 5 men, all the boats that are toughness 5, even the toughness 3 models that are starting to come on the table that are infantry. These guys are strength 6. Pretty good value for
a lot of shots,
targets out there. A lot of shots.
Damage.
They can all they can reroll their hits and wounds for CP. Like one of the squads could. Like they're pretty efficient. And this meta, they have a lot of targets that they'll be pretty efficient into.
Yeah, look, I can't say I'm in love with them, but for what you need as a Necron player, you're looking at like, oh, should I take a DDA or a freaking, what are the tripods called? Doomstalker?
Triarch Stalkers.
Triarch Stalkers?
Yeah, or Doomstalkers. And you're just like,
Doomstalkers.
well, heavy destroyers and locust destroyers are just so much better. They're infantry, they fly. The points are now kind of comparable for like 3 locust destroyers or 2 heavy destroyers to one of those platforms. And look, like, I like them. I just like them.
Heavy destroyers are awesome. I will say that.
They're still locust destroyers are still D3 damage, which I actually like. Because there's so much -1
just
damage.
So they get over the 2.
Yeah, it's so you actually get 2 damage sometimes.
Like I used to like 2 damage because it was more consistent, but once -1 damage started coming into the meta so hard, D3 just became better.
I memed it up so hard when we started to get a picture of 9th edition, because everyone screamed for like 2 damage stuff and no more D3s, just give us flat 2. And then G-Dub put -1 damage on everything and laughed at us so hard for our hubris for wanting nice things.
No, you can't say that GW doesn't have a sense of humor. All this stuff. I can tell you right now. They were saying this is the year. This is the banner year for Chaos. Chaos is getting a banner. That's the new banner champ. That's what's happening.
That is funny. With this Necron list too, I don't want to claim. I had no idea what the composition should be. I'm like, does these units seem good? But then there's also the inclusion of the Tomb Blades, which seems to be a throwback. What are they in there for? Volume of Fire? What's going on with them?
They're in there to be quick obsec, is what I can see. Zoom out, get onto an objective, disrupt your opponent's primary, be an option for like engage on all fronts and things of that nature, because they got 3 models still. So yeah, I don't hate them because they're obsec, but that's the only reason I see them kind of being in the list.
Maybe that's it. You look at it again. What do I need here? What I'm missing? Want something to distract, get up there and do a little chase.
Yeah.
And they do put out a decent amount of shots. I don't know if the size of the units.
You're talking about the Tomb Blades?
Yeah.
I actually like the Tomb Blades. They put out more shots than you would expect, and I don't know what they're equipped with. I'm assuming it's a strength 5 -2.
The Goths?
The Goths?
Can't remember.
Pretty
no
sure.
idea.
But they can put
Let's assume that's what it is.
Sure. So assuming that's what it is, like strength 5 -2 with the amount of shots they can put out, they do enough, and it's almost like because they're -1 to hit, you have to put more into them than you would expect to kill them. So they're going to survive a lot of things that they should kill them just because of that -1 on T5.
Yeah, T5 -1 to hit with obsec. It's just nice and flexible.
Yeah.
Put out decent amount of fire. I wish they could take like a chainsword equivalent, just something to give them rend in combat, so there was a reason to ever charge the damn things into something. But yeah, apart from like tapping a tank, you just never charge with them.
Now, with in mind that 18% of this tournament is Custodes, but
Well, the best tower player in the world essentially is at this one.
Yeah.
You know, like from last season. So that is the thing.
And what is it? 6% is Astra Militarum.
Yeah, boy.
Ooh.
What's taking this thing down with those looking at those that spectrum?
I'm just going to be a meme lord and say Ultras because they're going to go first in 5 out of 5 games on just poor terrain and just be like nuke, just smash the nuke button and annihilate people. It's not going to happen, but here we are.
You can still hope for it.
That's right. That's right.
Dusty, you got a pick here?
For this one, I'm actually gonna go with orcs.
Ooh, nice spice.
Yeah, there are 3 Harlequin players here, and I don't think people are prepared.
There's no more to that. This is my reason. There's 3 of them there.
I don't think the 47 other players have thought of that yet.
No, it's fair. It's fair. I mean, I don't know what we're doing to account for Harlequins because I just don't know. I don't know where to start with unpacking that issue. If you play on good terrain tables, the better the terrain, the harder the Harlequins. Like, oh, jeez.
If they're light, orcs have a good matchup into them.
So,
it's the dark that orcs do not have a good matchup in them.
Oh, orcs hate dark. Oh my god.
Orcs hate dark. That's not good for them.
Yeah.
But before we get into our Fuego Rapido segment, which is a fun segment, if you're new here, we do a segment every week where we give ourselves 5 topics to run, 4 or 5 topics to run down, give ourselves a very finite amount of time to discuss or rapid fire those topics, and then we move on to the next one. And we're to speak of it again, or maybe a callback a year from now. So you got to stay tuned in. It's a nice little palate cleanser. But let's discuss. You mentioned, what actually goes well into Harlequins. Like, what is it we're not seeing? What army has what they should have, in their book that they can wheel out, bring out? Is it volume of fire? Really? Is it the Stormbolters?
Flamers is the thing that comes to, as a Space Marine player. I'm like, oh my god, am I bringing Flame Aggressors out? Like Centurions, just stuff that they
I
can't
do not know if I can
charge,
endorse the
like,
Flamer Aggressors.
Me either.
They
But
have to be good range because -6 range hurts flamers a lot. They need fast flamers.
Exactly. So I'm just like in my head, like, man, there's so many levels to this problem. I don't have a good solution. Part of me is like, maybe I'll just run 2 Dark Talons and just nuke the crap out of them if I go first.
Ball Predators.
Wow.
There
you guys
it
are
is.
both memeing your own factions right now. Pretty hard.
Well, I'm saying I don't have a good solution as a Marine player.
Clearance incinerators. There we go. I rep mine now too.
I have no good solutions. I wish I had a bunch of hand flamers that could just pop up from reserve and stuff.
Yeah, if only an army had that.
I know. Or things that could threaten first turn charges on any deployment zone.
Yeah, nobody has that. Don't give people ideas about.
I know. So that's what I'm looking at the moment. I want something that is gonna just check them, make them know their role. They got to treat me with respect. Because right now, as a Marine player, I'm like, the Harlequins have no reason to respect me at all, and just come get me. You're gonna win. Like,
do you look within the Asarani faction? Are Eldari going to counter Harlequins?
Legitimately, I think Asarani can build to beat Harlequins and vice versa. But you're not wrong, brother. Drukhari as well, I think, can build to do well into Harlequins.
Harlequins only lose luck dice when they mix, though, don't they?
Yes, yeah.
It's not a huge, it's nice to have, obviously, but it's not a huge hit to mix that. I think an Eldari listed is actually pretty viable.
I mean, I've actually, with a straight face, endorsed Falcon grav tanks, and
100%.
and things like that.
100%.
You might need to go with that, and also in the chat just mentioned some jump pack flamer troops they can get over there and get in there, which maybe I glanced at the Fuego Rapido, but let's go into that. So again, remember I said this is the segment of the show. It's how we close out every single show, where we give ourselves some topics to run down and a clock to do it on, and when the clock runs out of time, we stop talking about it. And this is a St. Patrick's Day themed one, is what it looks like. And as soon as that timer starts, I'll read off the first question. What's the best green faction in 40K?
Oh, come on!
This could be a trick question. It could be a trick question.
But if any of you don't answer right on this one, I can't.
I'll start.
I know.
Bye.
I'm just gonna harm Dustin probably. Nurgle Demons.
Okay.
Just harming Dustin now.
You know what? That
Alright.
one's okay. I thought you were going to say Dark Angels, to be honest.
No. I knew you thought they're not green. F that. The black and red, baby.
He paints his black. There you go.
It's right here.
Okay, well then you're just not a Dark Angel at that point. That's just weird.
How
just
dare
weird.
you, sir?
That's
That
just
is the
weird.
armor color of the Fallen, I believe.
Saying that is not a
the
Dark
Fallen,
Angel.
yeah. That's just weird. But yes,
Shame.
it's just weird.
So what's your
okay.
answer? What are we missing? What are us
orcs.
pedestrians
Of
missing?
course, it's orcs, you pedestrian people.
It was
It's
too easy.
orcs.
I couldn't do it.
How
It's
could
too
you
easy.
not think of orcs immediately?
I know.
Why would you do that?
Because it was fish
We
in
can
a
do this.
barrel.
We have 50 seconds left. What is the second best green faction in Warhammer 40,000?
Still not.
Salamanders.
I was about to say, it's not sound.
Salamanders.
Is there a
That's-
green? What's the green Hive Fleet? Is it
The
Jormungandr
Green Hive
or
Fleet.
Jormungandr, I
No.
think, is the brown one, right?
the brown?
The
I
Jormungandr's
thought
a weird-
Gorgon was brown. Was Gorgon red? Oh, the Kraken's the red. Yeah, I thought Gorgon was brown. There's a green and like pasty pale, like pallid witch flesh one
Yeah.
scheme. That's it.
Green?
Was in the
Look, I can't.
Yeah,
with
green
50 seconds
carapace,
left, I was
whatever.
saving it. Submitted it. Cadia.
Is that green? Is that,
It is. I didn't even think of Katie.
like a booger green. I don't know.
I know.
wow.
And, yeah,
Mm.
and Catachin
Like
is
a, like an
obviously
ugly booger
better
green.
than orcs. All right, we're out of time. Best character from a green faction in Warhammer
Oh,
40,000. Rattle it off. Harker, Sergeant Harker.
nice. Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's good. I respect it. You could
Wait,
have said
what?
any like Catachan. You could have said Strachan. You could have said
No,
Marbo.
the criteria was sound. What is
That's
the
why
best?
you said Kate. That was why you did that to kind of lead the way. I get it now. I see you. I see your plan.
All right, Dustin,
you
you
look
go
at the next question.
Dustin,
Oh, we got somebody in the chat. It's got a Karandris. That is actually a strong pick.
Ooh, that is a strong pick. That
is
is a-
Striking Scorpion a faction though?
Best character from a green faction, and
Steel Tan. Karandras would
technically,
be that.
yeah.
'cause That's
It's-
yeah.
Striking Scorpion.
Phoenix Lords,
I
are
can
they
see it.
actually
Phoenix
aligned
Lords
to-
are not craft worlds, so they could be
Yeah.
their own a faction of one.
That's right. Faction
Oh,
of Karandras. Keyword
okay.
Karandras.
He might even have the keyword Karandras. He certainly deserves it. By the way, I have
Okay.
Karandras like right here. Actually, I don't know if like someone's close.
Man, that
This-
model is
ooh, that's-
old enough to be my pappy.
That
Like,
is
that
It actually
old,
is.
old. That is
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Tiamat. That's the fleet.
That's
High
how-
fleet
that's
Tiamat.
how-
That's the
There you
green
go.
fleet. I
This is
got
how
it.
Karandras sneaks up
Drives
on
me
you.
nuts.
He makes his way in.
He's got his he's got his cane. You don't hear him. He's just like shuffles.
Oh my
shuffles.
goodness, the chat is on fire. Martarion. I can't.
Ooh,
that was
ooh.
Death Guard. Yeah, another character from a green
Azrael.
faction.
Yeah, see, because Azrael's wearing green. That makes sense.
Shush. He's a pleb.
That's your freaking chapter master. What do you mean he's a pleb?
It's not my
A
chapter
lot of
master.
votes for Martarion in the chat.
Martarion.
Gaz.
Come on, nobody said Gaz yet.
I was gonna say Gaz. Yeah, I was gonna say Gaz.
Yep.
No, you
But
weren't.
yeah. Was
Oh, and
so
Aegis Bane.
You were
Aegis Bane's
sitting
fired
there
off
with
with a bunch.
Mortarion.
Creed. But
Yeah.
obviously, what the best character? Anybody?
Vulcan? I don't know.
No,
Vulcan. Oh, that's a good one.
The Primarch
No,
Vulcan.
I stand. That's it. We're out of time. Favorite Irish food or drink? I guess from what is historically thought of as maybe from the country. I do not claim to be an expert on.
Yeah, I don't want to get this wrong because I'm
Uh,
going to offend somebody if it's not Irish.
So bangers and mash is just like there's Irish bangers and mash. Like you get in Irish pubs. I love Irish sausage, really good.
Yep.
They do some damn good stew and Irish pie. I really like Irish pie as well.
Shepherd's pie is actually what I was going to mention.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
Shepherd's pie.
But I love it when it's like got it tastes earthy, and you can really taste like the longs, the root vegetables,
And that the fact that they put like 4 pints of Guinness in the stew.
well and just maybe
Guinness.
just not,
There we go. That's what.
and also not
that's my
like
favorite drink.
not
It's a
like
food.
cow, like not beef, like you can taste like a
what?
different beef choice in the shepherd's pie.
Guinness is a food.
Is thick enough to be a food. I think it transcends.
I thought you were
transcends
actually-
liquid. Transcends
Bread-
liquid.
Bread in a glass,
bread in a glass.
but
I
delicious.
can't
I've
have
actually
many
been,
of them, but I like them.
I've been to Ireland once, and I got to stay one night in Dublin, and I was like, where am I going to go? And I was like expanding the map. I'm like, Guinness Factory. That is,
Yeah.
it was cool. It was very cool. Very, very glad I did it. But
I
but
forgot about
you know what I had when I
Shepherd's Pie,
was
that's
there?
100% it.
I mean, hamburger and French fries. That's what I.
Wow.
You know, I'm a hamburger guy.
Nice.
So, but
Yeah.
you're the guy that goes to a Chinese restaurant and orders hamburger, aren't you?
Sorry, no. Let's get it right. Chicken fingers.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Wow. Wow.
No, I do. I'm not that kind of eater. I just happen to really like hamburgers. Anytime I'm going somewhere new, but that's not answer the question. Sorry, Dustin, did you have a pick here?
Guinness drink,
okay.
shepherd's pie, food.
Yeah,
Like hands down.
I think that's strong. That's strong. We can move on to the next one. What? Okay, this is what U2 song best describes the Warhammer 40,000 universe?
Oh, that's easy. That's easy.
I'm waiting.
Stuck in a moment you can't get out of.
You could have
so
said
that-
any combination of words, and I would have been like,
It's
okay,
not
I
a-
know that
absolutely
is
YouTube
U2
song.
song.
Yeah.
You can look it on YouTube. It can be on YouTube. I guarantee it. There's like the chorus, the second half of it's like, don't say that later will be better. It's just like that's 40K. It's never going to get better at 40K. That's a dark future, man.
I have two. Was it Sunday, Bloody Sunday or something? It just feels like it just encapsulates how horrific the 41st millennium is. And the other one is...
I believe that song's rooted in actual history.
I know about some Irish... horrible circumstances, which kind of like the 41st millennium is just a horrible circumstance. And the other one is Two Hearts Beat as One for Astartes.
Is that I don't know U2. I'm just gonna say the one with the banjo.
There was one with it. Yeah.
I don't know.
We've got In the Name of Love. That's pretty good.
Bono is disappointed right now.
Richard, could you jump
I
in for a
hope Bono's
second
not
so
listening to the
people
show.
can
I
see?
respect what they do,
You know Bono listens to the show. Come on, he's in the war.
but
I'm
it's
just gonna
music.
look up some U2 songs.
You
songs.
don't know this on YouTube. Come on, YouTube is awesome.
With or Without You, Beautiful Day. I still haven't found what I'm looking for as a hobbyist. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. If this was like what Flogging Molly song best describes the Warhammer 40K universe, I could.
Who's gonna ride your wild horses?
Rough Riders.
That's Adam's
Riders, baby.
answer.
Yeah. Where are my Rough Riders?
There we go. We're out of time. Here we go. I just stalled enough on that one.
We did. Yeah.
What
tread
Irish
water.
actors should be cast in a Warhammer 40,000 movie or series?
Oh, that's easy too. Liam Neeson.
I was gonna say Liam Neeson. Like he is.
Absolutely.
I mean,
he's got the stature for it. He's got the voice for it. He's got the chops for it. It'd be
Do you know?
awesome.
Who played Littlefinger? He's Irish, yeah. I think.
Is he?
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't think he is.
Sec. Irish actors.
So there's
Cillian Murphy is Irish as well. Sick. Of course, Murphy.
So I don't know who keeps taking stuff from Liam Neeson, but they should know to stop by now. I think
Yeah,
they
they
should.
should,
But
definitely.
yeah.
Aidan Gillian. If you thought of a Eisenhorn, someone who could play Eisenhorn, he'd be a great actor, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also gonna go one of my. Anytime you see this actor, it kind of makes a scene. Cole Meany.
Yep.
Look up the actor.
Which one's Cole Meany?
You absolutely.
I'm watching Deep Space Nine right now. I should have known that. Yeah. O'Brien. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan is Irish.
Is he?
Yeah, apparently he's on the list of Irish actors. So is like Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan Gleeson would be good.
He would be so good as like Logan Grimnar, like an old grizzly Astartes.
Oh, Liam Cunningham. He's another good one. He's an older chap now, but I like him a lot.
That's all right. I mean, look, if you live to be an old guy in Warhammer 40,000, you are obviously bad.
It's true. Like if he's still at 40K, man, he is a boss.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy. You could play a bunch of stuff in the 41st millennium.
This has been
I
interesting.
feel like-
Yeah, this has
don't
been
know.
interesting. Fuego. So these questions were provided to us by a listener and friend of the show. We really appreciate that. It suggests some topics either in the chat or on social media. We would certainly appreciate that because we like to
It's
see
funnier.
some of these by random. Yeah, it is a little bit funnier. We do.
It's funny when we have no idea what's coming.
Oh, it's Ancient Spains. Yeah, Liam Neeson and Cole Meany. Yeah, Cole Meany. I think those would be.
Yeah,
I would.
exactly.
I just throw money at the screen.
That's that idea. Yeah.
Isn't Gerard Butler Irish? No, he's Scottish. That one I know.
Scottish.
He's Scottish.
Yeah.
Ever free, miss most of the show. Well, the show will be replayed on all podcast aggregators and available on YouTube. You can go back and check the first half of it if you missed it. But we certainly appreciate you tuning in and saying something in chat. That is the end of our show, and this has been a great one. So we're seeing this meta develop. We're seeing solidly, like we should when we do the faction breakdown. It should be gold factions and then Imperial super faction, and then we break down it that way. It may have to be separated out into its own data category unless it can be stopped. And I think over the next 2 weeks we will see, can it be stopped?
Would you guys be interested in me starting to track, at least for a couple of weeks, couple of months, the breakdown of, how many are Farsight, how many are Borkan, how many are Tau Sept, how many are Shadowkeepers, how many are Empress Chosen?
Look, we are hungry for data. We love the data. We love the data we have so far. Any other granularity would be great. But what I want to know is these outliers for the winners. Like some of these things, they really are approaching this in a novel concept of how do they beat that. I think we can all figure out how to be it, but it's how to beat it, and that's the juicy parts.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's all well and good to know which one is going to be on top in your meta, which one of those top factions is going to be the 20% of your 50-player GT, and if you can pick it, and you can build for it, you're going to do so much better than everybody else, so much better. We had 2 events this week. One of them had almost 20% custos. One of them had almost 20% Tau. And if you're able to pick which one that's going to be at your event and just build specific, whatever faction you play, if you can tailor close enough and practice enough to make that a playable game, you're just going to get leaps and bounds above your peers. Maybe not above those factions whole, but above your peers, the people you're competing against in the same kind of brackets.
Mhm.
We'll look deep into those codexes. Thanks a lot for the chat. And yeah, Norgo Matthew makes a great point. Have a great weekend. Everybody have a great evening if you're celebrating at all. We will be back next week. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends we do this. If someone is struggling in a tournament, let us know why you think they're doing it. Maybe we can help. Send us a list.
So next week is Adepticon. Both Paul and I will be on the ground. I'll be playing that day. On this time next week, I'll be playing in the singles. Paul will be commentating. So it maybe Dustin will be just doing the Adepticon show next week.
Carrying on my back. Let's put the whole show on my back.
And we'll be streaming from the hey, we're doing a little double duty, we're rolling dice, doing some other talking.
Or maybe I'll just get my last game will be against Tau, and I'll just be like, yeah, whatever.
But if we do, we're going to try to do something for next week. But if we miss next week, know that is because we made best efforts to do something. We really appreciate everyone that tunes in either live or after the fact. It means so much to us, and we're glad that we can share this time together.
Well said.
But until then, we'll see y'all next week.
Happy Paddy's Day.